I'll do what I love till my heart stops beating. I'm feeding this demon. Got a taste, can't erase bitterness in my face. Work a job every day till your dreams fade away. Like a card, never change, play the game that we say. I need a break. I'm staying strong, need to move on to be what I want. I'll keep dreaming on. I'm staying strong, need to move on to be what I want. I'll keep dreaming on. Game face on when I chase like that. Yeah, I play so strong with a knife in the back. I'ma swing home run like a baseball bat. Gonna see me rise if you hate on that. I don't play both sides, doing me no cap. I'ma ride or die for my dreams on tap. I'ma fly real high, you ain't see me slack. No, it's not how you fall, it's how you get right back up. That's how you get tough. Calluses on my hands so rough, yeah, I call your bluff. I'm not the one, mess with me, come out with none. Cause I'm so done, you had your fun. And now you're gonna face down the barrel of the gun. Cause I got a full clip, put your name on it. But I'ma let you slide cause you ain't worth it. I'm staying strong, need to move on to be what I want. I'll keep dreaming on. I'm staying strong, need to move on to be what I want. I'll keep dreaming on.
We are live. I welcome you all joining in today. We are doing another live read of 11 Kingdoms. We are going to get to the penultimate point in the story where the plot really hits the fan. It is in these two chapters that we are going to be learning a few things about the world that have been hidden. So, a couple things I want to address beforehand. Yes! Those who did not know, we made the announcement last week. Demon Blade Book 1, which includes all of chapters 1 through 6, is going to be not only digitally available on the 15th, but also available in paperback. Yeah, we have an official title in print. We have the title coming out on the 15th, and you will be able to buy it anywhere that Amazon delivers. And in some start markets, we will also be selling it or have it set up for sale in bookstores and in libraries. So you'll be able to tune in and read 11 Kingdoms. I hope you all get to enjoy it. And now, onto another story that we've done, that we brought in here, which is 11 Kingdoms. Let me bring it on up for you all to start reading, seeing what I'm reading. As we go into Chapter 8. Report, Meeting of the Kingdoms. Accessing personal logs, Princess Von Bitten. Alternative source, personal logs of Jamie Eve. Frustration fills my head. His eyes lock on me. Are you deaf, woman? Gavin shouts at me. Only his computer-generated voice can play some ringing in my ears. We've been helping them learn for the last 55 hours, Gavin. I need a break. My head hurts. Or so listening to you sing those god-awful dwarven hymns of yours. I try to look from the glass of the screen inches from my face and sigh. In fact, my aspirin bottle in the room is empty. You just had 3 hours downtime. Plenty of time to rest. I didn't have the heart to tell him. Trying to understand his words were more responsible for my migraine. Now that I sported. Instead, I needlessly wrote to help me messages in private to Melissa. But knowing the trouble we caused days earlier, Melissa was stuck trying to be a model employee, dealing with issues in the game as they rise. Look, I just need a few hours of sleep. That's all I'm asking for. I've had that damn meeting tonight, and I need as much sleep as possible to handle these guys. I say, rubbing the temples of my head. They pray for the pain to go away. To be our job to make sure the freshies understand how to go about the kingdom. He responds in a brash, or his responses as bash, excuse me. He responds as I bash Spawn's head down across the table the two of us have been sitting at. I feel a small rumble from the helmet, giving me a sense of meeting an object I can't pass through. If I hadn't been working on the character of Gavin's for months, or working with this character of Gavin's for months, I wouldn't know what he meant by freshies. It was a slang term of calling a new player to a game that barely knew which end of the sword to use. As for in-game characters, we had a responsibility of teaching new players of the beta how to play the game. Mind you, we've done that for the last 2 days, with mere short breaks for food, restroom trips, and sleep. Gavin, as both my assistant and Fawn's godfather, has yet to leave my side, as he still feels I would too easily slip out of character. But now, the idea of Fawn's bed is looking good as my own, if not better. Look, all I want is 6 hours, okay? I mean, we aren't going to be getting any new people anymore. It's these people and only these people for the next 2 months. If they don't know how to buy weapons or put on armor or level up by now, then they never will. New people keep showing up, he replies, in hopes to win the argument we're having. No, new characters are showing up. It's the same players, just new characters. People go through it thinking they missed something in the creation and restart with hopes of a more powerful character type or new class. I get a stern look from Gavin on speaking out of character and about the game in general. The look is broken as a speeding NPC that is computer controlled comes running up in a cloud of dust that he produced. A cloud of dust, then pronouncing his reason for being there in a hurry. Excuse me. I don't know what's going on there. I have a message for Princess Fawn. I reach out and accept the letter, open it, and read it out loud. It is a request of the gods on high in the Public Relations Office. The princess is to proceed to take part in a test of skill before the crowds in the battle arena in the capital city of Midden of Noyox in 1 hour. This session will be broadcasted across the network. Well, it looks like I get to leave, but not to rest. I sigh out of partial relief that I will be away from the least bit of, or at least for a brief time, from Gavin's side. I don't know what's wrong with me here today. What? Why do they want you? Gavin stands with a shocked face on him. Because I'm a great hero. The Princess of the Midnight Star. Why else would they not want me to not take part? It's just to show off the power and the strong character, I'm sure. I get a little whistle out of, and my horse Caramel runs up. As I quickly act to free myself from Gavin, leap onto it. Once I'm done, I need to take some downtime and prepare for a meeting at the Nook later. So, from here on, you need to run any questions the freshies may have. I ride off before hearing him respond, but an instant message to me gave his feelings in one word: traitor. I made it to the arena and pulled Caramel in. I looked on, looking over the detail of the wall carvings I placed in some reliefs. I walked up to the gate and watched 6 players were holding a makeshift event fighting for the rights of a magic sword they found. Their fighting paused when a booming announcement of the event spread across the land. In 1 hour, there will be a demonstration of the battle between Princess Fawn and the monster from the northern frost jungle at the Noyox Battle Arena. All are welcome to come and watch the great hero battle for her life. The loud boom faded, and I watch on as one of the players takes advantage of the distraction by others by stabbing them unaware. 2 of the 6 fall, fading from the arena, leaving 4 in battle. I leave them to their battle as I head off to the champions prep room, where I sit down and take a short nap, after informing the NPC squire to wake me in time for the fight. I feel worse when the alarm of the squire is going off, waking me from my nap in the chair. The screen is blurry at first, but I see that in my sleep, the squire brightened my armor plate that I wear to present the best look for my upcoming performance. Rising to my feet, I move on to the gate, listening to the noise of the crowd gathering around in the arena. I see not only members of the Black Kingdom, but also players from both Blue and Gold, as well as even a few from neighboring rival Red, including one man. A man I would rather be facing in the arena at this time. Red Kingdom's hero, Min Gang. I haven't had much time dealing with my Chinese counterpart since our competition, but before the judges. But he was reprimanded along with several others from his team, with sharing game info with their home countries to gain an edge in the scoring boards. So now he was looking weakened more since I last laid eyes on him. The man was a snake if I ever knew one, and worse, he despised the fact that a woman like myself is held at a higher ranking in the game than him. I returned to the task at hand by the announcer breaking in across the sky with an announcement. Ladies and gentlemen, of all across the 11 kingdoms and beyond, welcome to today's first event. The battle arena throughout each of the 11 kingdoms is placed not only to resolve disputes, but to host great events like the ones we have here today. In honor of the opening of the new world, to you, the players, we have set up a death match. This match will be between the powerful monster of the savage northern frost jungle and the great hero, the Princess Fawn Midden. Announcer could have very well gone on from here, but it would have been pointless over the loud cheers and the crowd crunching noise of gears and opening gate before me. The cheers grew louder, but I kept my eye on Min, who was presenting his thumbs down as well as a scoured look at me. Ignoring his gesture, I turned to look around a packed arena. Given I had a few NPCs set in the audiences at all times, but this was a packed seating that would cause a fire inspector in any venue to freak out at the possible threat of a panic stampede or structural housing issues of the building. The voice continued as the distance gate of the monster opens. Her chosen opponent for this match is the vile Polar Kavojak. I've never seen a Kavojak, let alone a polar one. But when a small white rabbit hopped out of its cage, I felt someone was playing a joke on me. The crowd started erupting in laughter at the fight when suddenly the ground from the cage starts erupting with icy spikes. A hole breaks open, claiming the little rabbit, killing it instantly. The cracks, and suddenly a large blue plant creature with the head of a T-Rex is bursting out from the ground. Causes a quick gasp from the crowd, as well as near loosening of my bowels. I look at the strange green flicker, goes about it, reminding me of the boar in the woods, the day I chose to be a mage hand. Well, I guess you're a little more powerful than the bunny. I try to joke, mainly trying to ease my nerves, as I activate my flame fists, engulfing my hands in fire. But I haven't fallen yet in battle, and I'm not about to let a freezer burned veggie beat me out now. It makes its first move, diving at me and tunneling as I quickly dodge past its attack. While it has the body of a plant and the head of a dinosaur, it's more acting like a sandworm or fish leaping in and out of the ground. Only the line of ice spiking up, showing where its movements are underground. I learn this the hard way, as it gets my left arm briefly before raising from the ground. I feel a sudden shock, but worse, an odd sting on my arm in the chair. Focused on the task at hand, I decide that the fighting on the ground made me a better target for him. So I activated a flight spell, sprouting feathers of light, and took to the sky. Watching the ice form at the spot I once stood and the creature leap up from its hidden location in a vain attempt to get at me. As the creature flops in midair, I take a chance to strike, blasting a volley of fireballs at it, causing it to show severe burns across its fleshy face. Parts begin to slowly burn away, but the damage does little more than detain it from trying to attack me as I stay out of reach. I try to keep up the volley each time he bursts up in an attempt to reach me. But the little damage it continues to do means it's not going to be such a simple fight as I once thought. Before I know it, my flight spell is worn off. I find myself falling to the ground with the creature's movements, making an effort in snagging me as I fall, in hopes to cause as much damage as I can on the way down before I crash alone. Before the crash alone hurts my hit points. But my plan was just as good as the instinct of the creature, as it opens up its maw wide to receive me in its gullet, and closing it shut. A new gasp is made from the crowd as the great hero had fallen, or so it looked, for a few seconds, till a loud bursting came out of the ground of flame as my body slid down its throat unwittingly, created a new opening in the monster's plant body. The beast let out a scream and turned to face me. Guess you're not going to die easily, huh? I reach into my character inventory and summon forth my battle staff, Ebony Heart. The beast lunges at me, but I'm far too fast for it, hitting at it, knocking its head skyward. Shaking off the blow, it tries to strike at me with two sides, lashing its tail at my right and striking my head on my left. But quickly I activate the spell, Inferno Aura, as flames spin about my body and burn the tail of the beast. As it goes to strike, its head must be of different substance, as it was able to slam into my side, knocking me out of the spiral of flame and giving me another shock. Once again, a sharp pain hits my body, not just from the shock, no. This was a cold, forceful blow to the left side of my body. All that remained moving was a small stub of the monster's body and its head, yet it still was alive. Gathering to my feet, I watched as it was trying to move about the ground by moving its jaw. But its speed was greatly depleted, and I moved quickly to position myself where it couldn't strike. I slam an attack from my staff, now hopefully engulfed in magical flame, splitting the monster's skull in half. As a roaring rush of flame disperses, the monster begins to fade, and the crowd erupts in loud cheers of honor. I turn to look at where Min sat, but I don't see him in the seat when the announcer proclaims, "Winner of the death match, Princess Fawn Midden." I fall to my knees when hearing the loud cheers of the crowd and start to take note of the pain in my arm. I pull my right arm out of the cage it sits in. Then, with my free arm, I reach to the left caged arm and wipe a liquid dripping from it. I bring it before my face, and there under the screen, I see a pale red on my fingers. I'm bleeding? Somehow, during the battle, I hurt myself in the chair. This was odd. I've never hurt myself in the chair. By merely playing the game, something was wrong. My attention to my arm pulled away as a sudden gasp and look up at the screen to see what people are suddenly converging their attention on. Looking around, I see the crowds looking up to the sky. I turn my gaze to look upward as well. There in the sky, written in some weird type of mangled letters, spelled the phrase, "Thou shalt not worship false idols." Instantly, I'm getting messages from the staff, all asking if I'm okay. Worried that this is merely a person's joke, I tell them I'm fine, and chose to ignore the dripping of blood from my arm. In response, I walk out of the arena, get up on Caramel, and ride to the palace. Once in the bedroom, I sign off and make my way out of the chair to assess the damage to my arm. The throbbing pain makes me wish I had an aspirin. Even more now, as I move to the bedroom, turning on the light, the arm has a small cut in which the first and main thing I expected to find. Yet while investigating, I saw the skin around the cut was whitish pale blue, fading to a hue of maroon, very cold to the touch. In some way, it was a blessing as the cut was bleeding slowly due to the frozen mark. But what on the chair could give my skin the look of frostbite? I look at my body closer and discover bruises along the left side. Both wounds match the ones Fawn took in battle. But why now? I mean, by now, I fought regularly, and I've received what slight static shock to the back of the neck. Could it be the green lines on the creature? I recall the boar had them before. I think back to that day and remember hearing some injuries the staff took during the battle of the boar. Did the green lines mean that the creatures could do more than shock us in real life? This damage is more severe and harder to believe than the injuries that others reported. Who is behind this? How is this even possible? I want to tell someone, but who would believe me? Sure, technology can affect the body in motion and read electrical motions of people's brains, but nowhere could it cause someone to suffer frostbite without anything cold causing it. I decided to keep it to myself, and if more issue arose, I would report what happened. A small scratch from frostbite, or small scratches and frostbite isn't enough to raise an alarm for now, but my lack of skills to clean the wound and deal with the pain does have me needing to head out of the room. Security is instantly at my side from the moment of me leaving the apartment. I make my way to the spare room where Rick's wife and child are staying, knocking on the door. The door opens, and a disheveled woman answers the door. "Oh, Jamie. Can I help you? Rick is in the game, shouldn't you?" She stops her question when seeing my arm with the blood. "Yeah, I had to get out of the chair for a bit. I kind of hurt my arm. I'm all out of bandages and aspirin. I was wondering if you had any?" I placed a goofy smile, trying to hide an injury from too many prying questions. "Well, there's the clinic downstairs." She pauses to think, though at her statement, remembering I was not allowed to leave the floor. "Never mind. I think I have some. Come on in. I'll clean the wound and dress it." I walk in and look at a room similar to mine, only this room is filled with crayon drawings and a small plate of a half-eaten sandwich with carrot sticks sitting on a table, as young Lily lays in front of the TV, playing the highlights of the game. She's been set on seeing her father's character pop up, but they were all focused on your actions earlier. I watch as Lily looks up and sees me. Hi, Jamie. Did you watch the princess fight the monster? Guess she doesn't know that I'm the princess. So I chuckle at being in the room of the few people in the world that doesn't know that yet. No. I was busy taking care of things. Was it good? I replied to my young fan. It was awesome. I smile as she bounces up and down. Lily, that's enough. Go finish your sandwich. I need to help Jamie with something, okay? Lily's mother's stern voice reminds me of my own mother. I follow her to the bathroom and she pulls out a med kit from under the sink. Grabbing a bottle of alcohol and a towel, she pours a small amount, pressing it into my arm. The sting gets to me to singe in pain. Oh, please. Lily's braver than you. Hard to believe you're the same one that was fighting a few minutes ago. She wipes away the blood and places a cotton pad on the wound. Suddenly, she pulls out a can of the spray vinyl and sprays my arm. A small collection of heat hits my arm as the vinyl wraps and hardens around the cotton pad. Well, that should keep any infection from getting at it. Peel it off, and as for aspirin, here, she hands me a bottle. I have extra. Lily gets pretty loud when she gets excited or upset, so I buy these in bulk. Look, take it easy, okay? I know the company's pushing you all to work hard now, but don't keep injuring yourself like that. I'll try. The company has me set for a day off after tonight's event. Given as much as Rick likes to chew me out, I think I'll spend that day sleeping in my bed and I'll clean the place up. I reply with a sense of ease that she didn't pry too much on how I got the injury. I walked back through and watched Lily take a bite of her sandwich, which has gone untouched until the two of us returned to the room. Making my way back into the room, I slump on my bed and nap for a few hours before ringing from the chair wakes me. Looking at the clock, I see that I slept for 4 hours and now have to go to the meeting in the Nook. Making my way to the chair, I quickly slide in, log in, but perhaps not fast enough for some reason, as I have Gavin waiting in Fawn's bedroom for me by the time the world fades into view. You sure took your time, girl. You got 5 minutes to warp there, the grumpy dwarf proclaims. I make my way to the mirror in Fawn's room and tap it in the pattern. Shut up, Gavin. The mirror's already set to send us there instantly. Computer access code Alpha Gamma 074. Access warp Nook Alliance. The mirror glows as both of us step through into the forested area of the Nook. There stood the collection of players on each tower, waiting to be announced to enter the room. A small goblin coughs and looks at me and Gavin. Good to see the Princess of Noyax joins us finally, because you're first to go in. I look and see the men snarl at my appearance, and I try to ignore Gavin's grumbling under his breath. Told you that, he said. I told you. We're running late. In the distance, a sound of fanfare is heard pronouncing the opening of events. Then the speaker pronounces the opening of the events. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know why I got that doubled up there. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now begin the second event with the opening of the Meeting of Heroes. The events will hold the meeting of the greatest warriors in the world, and discussion on the events taking place in the world. The speaker is silent for a moment. I find my character slowly moving without choice forward. I look behind me, and the goblin is pushing me to the door. You're on, princess. And you too, Mushmouth. You follow in with her, and sit behind her at the great round table. Trumpets sound off, and fanfare begin again. Suddenly, a voice calls out, "From Noyok's kingdom, warrior of the Midnight Star, Princess Fawn." I walk into a cleared area in the forest, where a large stone table with 4 sections have that have a staircase letting people walk up onto the table, with 12 chairs sitting at it, 11 painted segments, and an open fire pit in the middle of the table. Many other chairs surround the area for the followers and the other select people from whom the tower to sit. I follow the table around, finding the place bearing with the Noyok's royal crest, and take my seat. No sooner after I take my seat, they announce a new name. From Topol Kingdom, Knight of the Moon, General Mikov. I watch as the large Russian enters the area, takes his seat next to me. While one of the rival groups, Mikov has always been kind to me in a few encounters. He's had a sense of trust as well as willing to lend a hand, even though his earlier showing in our first meeting showed his trust ends when it comes to his alliance with Red and Orange Kingdoms. I watch as a massive blonde man smirks before taking his seat. From Azure Fire Kingdom, Hero of the Surf, Councilman Reeks. I try to ignore the suave, blonde, unshaven man in a fancy tunic, flowing cape as he flashes a smile at me. He makes his way to a chair that Mikov is sitting and strikes up a conversation with him. Hey, comrade, mind switching places with me? I'd like to be next to my woman. The man gives him a look, then looks at me, shaking my head no, and responds with a large grin. Sorry, man, but your seat is right there. Smile on Reeks fades as he takes his seat. So soon uneases his fills his face when his next name is called. From Strone Kingdom, Quake Walker, Princess Cassandra. I watch as Cass walks out in an odd display of what a starlet would likely wear out on a night public eye draped on her. Normally a hulking bovine body. She snorts in my direction, though I can't tell if it's a good thing or bad. The two of us have gotten along okay in interactions. We started to share it as we build the borders of our kingdom. I find her rather peaceful person who prefers to work alone and on tasks. She also has a habit of singing songs while she works. I'm looking forward to her clips on the reality show releases. The calls for song royalties may cause her to be cut now and then from singing too often. Cass takes her seat as Reeks sighs, placing his head in his hands. From Crystal Kingdom, Majestic Angel, Princess Kylie. This is the one woman I wish I knew more about. All I found out is she's originally from Sydney. I have asked the others about Kylie, yet everyone agrees the third-ranked hero remains a mystery, keeping to herself for the most part. She walks in with her wings decorated all about with jewels. She folds her wings and she takes her seat next to Cass. From Citron Kingdom, Rider of the Wind, Prince Nassim. Heavy-robed Nassim appears to walk with a walking staff. I recognize his choice of his robes and stick to match an outfit I saw in the movie. This film was once shown in college history classes when studied the First World War. He nods at Kylie before taking his seat and looking down on the table at me. His covered face makes it hard for me to acknowledge any emotions other than strong stare, given as a member of our rival alliance. I'm sure he's sizing up my skills since the time he last saw me in battle. From Braillehound Kingdom, Spirit Talker, Prince Malak. Malak has changed his formal attire of a simple loincloth for much more elaborate collection of furs draped across him, with the heads of the beasts staring down any soul that looked on. While many had doubts about Malak's experience in the group, of heroes to be in question. When his numbers finally came out, Malik was ranked 5th place on member based on the skill and level, making many of the other heroes having to play catch up to the newest recruit of the list of Grand Heroes. From Emerus Kingdom, Blood Dance Warrior Princess Grendel. The red, gelatinous, faceless form of Grendel had been adorned in the traditional outfit of her own country, of Germany. She reminded me of the concept I saw often during the fall at Oktoberfest events throughout town during my later college years. From Arguo Kingdom, the Dawn and Dusk twin princesses, Emmy and Amayo. I watch as Emmy and Amayo enter the area. Emmy smiles and waves in my direction, and I wave back. Two girls take their seat next to each other under the sign of their kingdom. Gone are their normal matching outfits, which are replaced with bookend-styled kimonos. My eyes land on Amayo, who keeps her eyes fixed on the center, where the flame pit sits, and seems to focus on something about the table. From Marin Kingdom, nature-born Duke Savo. Savo enters with a tight-fitting outfit, like the uniforms I saw in the Renaissance guards that were in Italy or Spain. The only difference being he seemed to overdo it on the jewels, placing them on every naked inch of material that wasn't highlighted by the gold stitching of the outfit. He cracks a smile at the group and takes his seat. From Ruyer Kingdom, the fallen dragon Prince Min Gang. I watch as Min is the last of the king heroes to walk in. He has placed his ornate armor on and tries his best to walk with a sense of superior dignity above the rest of us, which in many ways could be said of the second most powerful hero in the game. Only I know very well this look is only meant to be on display to the one that outranks him, me. I was hoping to be placed near a great warrior. Instead, they placed me near the whore of Noyax. While most of the attitudes of the world I shared were based off script, when dealing with men, when he's like this, it's not hard for me to play this one with ease. Wow, really, whore, that's the best you could come up with. Oh, wait, excuse me. Your pea brain is too small to recall just who beat the monster today in the arena? I snapped back. I saw your pathetic display of weak little girl. If I were in the arena, I would have had it beaten in 2 blows. Looking smug at his boast, I take my chance to respond. You couldn't take down a tavern rat in 4. Min jumps from his seat and stares me down from his standing height when suddenly a voice calls out. Settle down, heroes. Now is not the time for fighting. The flame erupts and out stands a body of a very old-looking elf. Considering all the tales of elves is that they are forever looking young, one can only guess this guy is centuries old. Every few weeks we plan to hold gatherings here where the issues of the world will be discussed by the great heroes. In time, new heroes will be invited to this space and take part in these decisions. But since this is the first time, and the world has just started, we will forgo each kingdom reporting in. Instead, we invited guests for the events tonight. For tonight's guest is the man who brought us all here, as well as the world, into being. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Kenshiro Masaru. We watch as the flames switch color and an image of Masaru in the same golden robes from when I met him for the first time appear from the flame. I welcome you all looking on at the event throughout this world. In the past few days, the first people have had the chance to take part in my creation. Fantasy world built on establishing alliances, friendships, and rivals. A world that takes so much from our own homes of Earth and the mind. In time, many will come to explore the world in a far greater in size than just that of 11 kingdoms. For beyond the seas lies an unexplored land of new dangers and a savage wilderness. The players must claim, build, and hold on to these territories for their home countries. While players represent each of their kingdoms, they also each represent their hometowns, countries, and more. Each week, the leading players are offered deals to their hometowns from Black Clover. The prize can be financial or something more precious, such as food or supplies. While it may seem unfair to some weaker countries, as characters' levels is not the only way we will be looking as far as points. Each player is measured on their actions as well as their skill. A player that is weak in level but fights the just cause. Those helping those in need can get just as much or even more points than a player who simply walks in and kills the creature. I look around. I see most of the group paying attention to the words of the master. Even though the heroes, by now, all have heard the speech many times over. And looking around, I notice Amayo isn't paying much attention either. I'm sure she's heard the speech far more times than being one of the master's assistants. Emmy, on the other hand, looks to be unmoving. I wonder if she's actually in her chair. But if she wasn't, then neither would her character be. There, right? I continue to look around, purposely avoiding the gaze of Reeks, who, out of the corner of my eye, blows me a kiss. I switch my gaze over to Men. Never really learned about him in person, just the jerk in the game. Soon he turns and looks at me with great disgust in his eyes. I quickly turn away from his gaze and look back at Master Masaru. Gathered here today at this table stands the best in many different areas of this game and the different parts of the world. Some here hold similar dreams and goals. Others work to be better than each other at the table. The choice of this table was no mistake. In many ways, we wanted to reflect the ideals of the legend of King Arthur, where each person sitting at the table has an equal place. The fire in the middle is to show that all sides work equally, and as such a reward is equally given, that they place an effort in and their love in it. After the last war, we learned it was actions of people trying to unfairly balance their ideals on the others that caused the bloodshed and violence. There is equality, but as you note, the only ones here at this time are the great heroes. Thus, the table lacks something. It lacks fairness. Because of fairness is a dream that cannot exist while each other here is treated fairly as the next. Some want more than others, than others have. So, in that act, they vary and they act making things fair. The world is still ripe for greed and want. The world has been designed not to be fair. It will challenge each of these people and each person who joins it. Only those that strive to be something better will it make it to this table. Only those that can truly work hard be honored with the title of Grand Hero. I ask each of the Grand Heroes here today to stand and place their right hand on the symbol of their kingdom. I look around and see both Emmy and Amayo have already done so before any of us. Perhaps knowing about the speech beforehand, that it could call such an action. Not trying to look out of place, I follow suit, placing my hand over the symbol of Noyok's crest I had created some time ago. As I did, a faint light hits my hand. The light that comes forth from these symbols represents your contributions to the world and how it is shaped. If you were to remove such light as follows, Master turns and nods at Emmy and Amayo, and they step away from the table, and the light of their symbol fades. The light of the fire dims along with the symbol as well. Should one leave the table, then the light of the world will fade, but go on burning. Should all but one leave the table, then the light will be dim. I ask all but the Princess Fawn Midden to leave the table. Each follows the advice of Masaru, and their lights fade, and the table and the flame dims. Soon, all that remains is a small flame, no bigger than a torch. The world suffers greatly from the light, and eventually, too, will fade into darkness. This is what happens when we, as a world, focus singly on the ideas of our lives and care not for the possible benefits others can give. So I ask each of you, and all that are watching in the world, equally our responsibility and our light to take care of it as I have. Please return your lights to the fire. Each person goes about doing such in turn, and as they do, light fills the arena from the burning fire in the surrounding area to light. But it's not just the fire bringing in all the light. A new light appears from the entrance of the Nook. A new light is pale green, glowing with two glowing red orbs. The group looks in shock, and to my surprise, even Emmy and Amayo look troubled at this. Masaru turns to look at the figure with puzzled look. What is this? The figure moves in closer. To the flame, the body shows a wireframe of incompletion, which sways as it moves up the stairs of the table. Master, this is not planned. What's going on? Shouts a frightened Emmy. Central, lock into the program. Where is it coming from? Shouts Reeks. Masaru, this makes no sense. What is this? Some kind of test of our skills? This is not part of my design. Masaru stands looking over the figure that now stands eye to eye with his image, till the creature waves a hand, and Master Masaru's image breaks apart as the creature speaks. Computer, disconnect image projection. The creature looks on at all of us in turn. Quickly, I join Min, Makov, and Cassandra in preparing attacks when the voice breaks over the arena. This is Watch Staff. This character is a foreign program. We don't know what it's doing, or from where it's come from. But all actions are failing to remove it, states a voice from the heads above. Emmy replies to Central, cut the broadcast feeds. Remove all non-staff characters. The world will watch my rise. The creature responds as it glares skyward. Central cuts in. It's got control of the broadcast. We can't cut the play. We cut the players active, but it's still there. Well then, hacker, we have an unwanted hacker, states Min with a grin on his face. I can't help but feel this very man, known for being a former hacker himself, may seem to know more about the new visitor than the 11th in the Nook. What do you want, hacker? Malik asks. Want? I want nothing from those who have taken from me. This is my world. I will reclaim it with the help of my children. The strange creature shrieks. The altered monsters. Like the one in the arena. They're your doing, I shout and note that the group stands puzzled at what I'm saying. But I get a nod from the creature. What do you mean, altered monsters? Min questions, grabbing my arm and thrusting to look at him. His action is so strong, I feel a shock from the damage he does in his grip. What do you know that we don't, princess? The creature in the arena was altered. It was the second one I faced in the game. I thought it was a glitch in the system, but after the damage it did to me from the fight, I could tell it wasn't normal. I was bleeding, I explained. Cassandra is first to question my meaning. But we all bleed when we fight the monster. That's not what I meant. My response is interrupted by the creature. We have touched her. The plague has felt the blood of this child. This false idol today. We bathe in the sweet crimson from her earthly body. False idol. The words above the arena, asks Riggs. A Bible verse. We know you're a pathetic coward hacker that likes to show off tricks. Dealing with you should be easy. When we know that we hack your... Should be easy when we hack your being apart. Shouts Min as he charges along with Mikov and Cassandra. But the creature waves its hand at the three and are halted in their forms, becoming unmovable and dead air. Computer, disconnect users Min, Mikov, and Cassandra. Suddenly, no sooner than when the creature states it, the three drop out of existence in the Nook. This thing is powerful, states a shocked Grendel. Stay away from it if you can. Sign off now. Do it now, shouts Emmy. I watch as all but Reeks, Emmy, and Amayo sign off. I try, but I find my computer is unresponsive. Amayo, Fawn, sign off. Emmy shouts now with tears forming in her eyes. She suddenly pops out. I can't disconnect, I scream. I turn to look at Reeks, who is being unresponsive to all of this. If you must, pull yourself from the chair, sister. Program is not normal. I feel some hidden power. Hollers an unusual quiet Amayo as she suddenly vanishes as well. I want to stay. I want to see this thing is doing with my own eyes, claims Reeks. You're an idiot, Reeks. I scream, trying to pull my arm free from the cage, but feel sharp pain from my earlier injury, letting out a cry of pain. I open my eyes, only to see the creature's face moving from right off its body to stand in front of my own. We are Dark Mistress. We are Plague. We are the gods of this world. And we will make you suffer like none before. Suddenly I feel a slight shock to my neck as I go crashing to the ground from Reeks shoving me away from the creature. Computer, disconnect player. Computer, disconnect player, Reeks. I will not let the false idol go so easily. Reeks pops out, and I remain alone in the Nook, face to face with the creature. I try ripping my arm free when suddenly the restraint locks down tightly on my arm. You have deceived the world. You must be cleansed from both worlds. Never again will you infest my world. I hear a tower alarm sound and prepares as the team has noticed what's going on. But as I look on, I find not only can I not move in the chair, but I can't move Fawn. I look on as the creature's hand forms a razor-sharp talons, sparking green light. Then suddenly, the last thing I feel is a final shock to my neck. In such a way, my throat closes up, while my mouth is open, trying helplessly to scream. Then everything is black. File source end. Accessing linked source material. Security camera outside Onyx 47A. Building alarms going off as the hand of Rick Mathers breaks the handle in an act of urgency. Alert! There's a fire in the building. Alert! Why did you have to flip that, Rick? Shouts a hysterical Melissa. We need as much manpower as we can. You guys got that door down yet? Rick shouts at the two security guards bashing the door. He goes to pick the metal trash can to aid them in their effort, but they all pause as the light of the building flicker and a muffled scream is heard from the room. No, it can't be. It can't be happening, cries Melissa. Gavin, report what's going on in the game, shouts Rick. Signals dropped when the creature attacked Fawn. Combination of panic and his breathing causes the words to stagger out. Get emergency personnel here stat. We need to get this door open, hollers Rick as Moses comes in running with a fire axe. Out of the way, Rick. Moses takes a large swinging, splintering the door. Jamie, respond if you're okay. Jamie! Shocking continues and knocks out the camera signal. Report end. Accessing next report. So, we meet the villain. We meet the villain, Dark Mistress and Plague. I will note that this was written in 2013. Initially, and the concept was, yes, the computer virus is going to be titled The Plague. Not intentionally trying to trigger anything these days. We're still calling it The Plague when it comes out in the book later. But yeah. Still gonna be The Plague, still gonna be Dark Mistress. So yeah. A bit of a little stress there for our character. And yeah, she's definitely not in the best of shape. We will learn exactly what happened to her in just a second. Once again, though, I want to promote Demon Blade Book 1, which covers issues 1 through 6. You can now order it currently and digitally, and soon, very soon, hopefully, you can order it through paperback. It will be a first paperback novel from Embry Arts. We are proud to finally get a paperback book out. Later this year, we're hoping to have 11 Kingdoms out in hardcover. So we'll be announcing a point later this year on that. But for right now, we are going to continue on in the story. So, let's bring it on up. Report, Day of an Icon fell. Accessing report logs. Black Clover investigation on the accident involving Jamie Eve. The team sits in a large waiting room, watching the age with the stress of tension form of Miss Ebony Eve pacing the floor, her teeth in constant clenched of her jaw, only opening to bite at her nail in an act of nervous twitch. In a brief respite of her nail biting, she rushes a growl of frustration and releases a choice set words at Rick's direction. You were the one in charge of my daughter's team. How could you let this happen? Rick Mathers wipes his face with his hand in a futile effort to take the sleep away. The last 30 hours have been brought from his team. But he does not answer the woman. That's what I thought. You people did this to my daughter. I'll tell you what. I will pray to God if you were given, or if I were you, to give you a reason to go on living because after this, I will see to it you are finished along with the company. And let's see here. Damn, Jamie said you were a vicious one. Just never thought I would see it with my own eyes. Steve, nothing here is Rick's doing, states an equally tired Melissa, stepping in between the irate Ebony and her team leader. Yeah, it's that creepy creature's fault, the Dark Mistress character, groans Moses from his laying position of the hospital benches. Just lucky she's still alive. Ebony walks up and slapping Moses. You call a heartbeat. For God's sake, my daughter needs a goddamn machine to breathe, for Christ's sake. Calm down. There's nothing any of us could do. The person behind this has set this up, and there's no way to stop the accident. What we have to do now is find who's behind this and do what we can to prevent it from harming more people like Jamie. A shaken Melissa shouts while stepping out in front of the fury of Miss Eve. For now, let's drop all of the emotions and just be here for Jamie while the company works on tracking down the hacker. If you think I will dare let any of you or the company near my daughter again, you will sadly mistaken. I will see to it that you pay dearly for this. Ebony viciously waves her finger in the face of Melissa, refusing to drop the heat of emotion at the moment. Then be that way. Perhaps, then be that way. Perhaps you should know that's the very same company that the claim put her in this condition that's saving her life right now. The tools the doctors use, the very building we stand in, all part of Black Clover. So, if you sue the company, don't be surprised if the company decides to lessen the care your daughter's receiving from them at the time. Melissa grasps the hand of Ebony and pushes it calmly away. Ebony walks off to the other side of the room in frustration with the dealing with the crew, while they continue discussing the events that have played out so far in several hours. But the company is behind this, aren't they? A groggy Gavin wheezes. Damn, Gavin. Don't tell me you're one of those guys, groans Moses. Melissa turns to looking puzzled at Moses' statement. You can't seriously be one of the people who are claiming the company set up to do this. Why not? Excuse me, it's Ebony. Why not? This makes perfect sense and explains how such a thing could be done. What proof do you have that they aren't responsible for it? Growls Ebony, in agreement with the raising of opinion of Gavin. Gavin, you were there when Miss Freaky shows up and threw you along with the Grand Heroes offline. Moses rubs his temple, makes sense of the companion's views of the recent events. Yes, and people with power do this. That is, Gavin is interrupted in the voice that is working hard to be quiet during the debates. Main servers, Rick responds, catching Moses and Melissa off guard. Not you too, Rick. I don't believe, yet the company is responsible. No, not willing at least. But if the hacker had access to the main servers of Central, they could use the accounts of those to activate and push them off. Problem is, the main server is a deeply held secret. I doubt Bart even knows its location. Rick scratches his slowly growing beard at the time, and he tries to think things through. But to say the company is completely innocent of the fault here is wrong. A hacker to do things like this would have been playing around with the issues, reaching out and affecting the game at times in similar ways. Didn't Jamie mention something about the plant monster in the arena being affected? Moses questions as the others pass events. Monster boar we encountered faced a few months ago was acting weird too. After she beat it, she leveled up a lot. We thought it was a glitch, Gavin adds in some issues of his recalls. If that's the case, then the hacker was likely testing affecting both the game world and altering Fawn's character in the same way. Rick sits with a quizzical, dazed look. But why didn't she say anything? And why would the hacker help her by leveling her up? Asked a confused Melissa. To be fair, with Jamie, she may have thought it was a basic glitch or something the Central Performer has to make Fawn look more heroic. Make her look good at photo shoots of her activities and stats listed in the game. Or the challenges facing the other grand heroes in the public events of the broadcast feeds that follow her. Rick snaps out of the dazed look and turns to see Ebony Eve. While separate from the group, he's trying hard not to look like she's listening in on the conversation. His eyes catch her at just the time she ceases to roll her eyes. Meaning the company knowingly brought harm to my daughter, Ebony growls in response to Rick's statement. And I wouldn't be surprised if you four are also responsible as well. It's something time and lawyers will show us. Very well, Miss Eve. If you feel that this is a case, there's little we can do for you. I want you to know it's not myself or any of my staff that would ever want Jamie in this condition. Jamie is a like family to us all. We have each risked our jobs to help her in some ways up to now. Rick pauses and looks at Melissa. No, not just jobs. Some of us have easily traded a place for Jamie from the harm brought down upon her. Rick gets up and starts to walk out, only to stop and snap back and glare at Ebony while giving orders. Since I'm not wanted around here, I'm leaving. Melissa, tell Jamie to get better for me. Where are you off to? The doctors are likely to let us in soon. Melissa stands a bit puzzled, but relieved that Rick has distracted her to stay in concern for her friend. Going to try and get some answers. Gavin, you and Moses need to head back soon too. Carol will be active again in a few hours after corporate makes an announcement. We need to make some staff to help out there. Miss Eve, I'm sorry your daughter's injuries, but if you threaten my friends and my family with snap judgments, I will see to it that you will fail at bringing others to harm for your quest for vengeance. Rick leaves down the hall, and Moses and Gavin jogging to catch up onto him. Melissa looks at Ebony and turns away to sit quietly. The two stay silent for a long time, with occasional glances at each other resulting in a display of dislike to one another. The only thing breaking their silence is the arrival of the doctor in charge of Jamie. He walks in and sits down next to Ebony, pulling out a tablet computer and going over the details with Jamie's injuries. I'm sorry, Miss Eve, but the damage to the brain from the electrical shock has shut it down. The only thing we find is keep going is her heart. We don't know how long that will remain active. Your daughter's brain activity shows minimal use. We cut off the devices hooked up to her. She surely will pass away in a few moments. Things don't improve in the next few hours. We can only assume that they will never improve for her in any way. I would suggest you make arrangements for the worst. Melissa watches as Ebony's finches clench tightly, and tears stream down the stern-faced woman. She turns to walk away from the scene of Ebony breaking down in hysteria over her daughter's news. She walks up past the door of Jamie's hospital room, where Jamie lays. As she listens to the constant beeps and the air pumps from the machine, she stands there looking on at her friend, now facing the verge of death due to her injuries. No one has been allowed in other than Jamie's mom on the last day. Jamie's hair is now bright white with bandages wrapped around the neck where the computer connection had melted into her skin from the charge of superheating it. A tube forcefully keeps Jamie's mouth agape in a way of looking like she is about to say something, but nothing comes out. Melissa walks in and takes a seat in the chair across from Jamie's body. She brushes her eyes, clearing them of tears. Wasting tears. Melissa laughs gently. You got me wasting them, sweetie. I had known that the trip would have been your last. I guess I would have fought those guys tooth and nail. Melissa chokes and swallows and brushes more tears away. Rick won't let this go. He blames himself for more than anyone. I'm sure he won't. We won't let the person who did this get away with it. Damn it, I don't even care if the company we work for. I won't stop till they pay for what they did to you, sweetie. But we need something from you. We need you to not make this the time to flee battle. We need you to come back to us. We need our co-worker. I need my best friend back. Don't you dare give up on life. If you fight it every step, every breath, every heartbeat. You fight it. Live for us. We are all waiting for the princess to rise again. Melissa brushes her eyes clear and looks at the quiet cough made from the doorway where Ebony Eve now stands. Don't mind me. I was just coming in to see her. Ebony responds as Melissa jumps from her seat. I'm sorry. I'll leave. Melissa begins to rise from the chair next to Jamie's body. Please, don't. I want to apologize for how I treated you and the others. Show me that my daughter was in a place I don't think I ever likely, given her past, would have seen her. Ebony walks in and sits down on the windowsill of the room. I mean, friendship. Jamie has always suffered from anxiety. I was shocked at how far she's coming out with the whole idol stuff. But I was worried that she was building herself up for heartbreak. Now I see that with friends like you, she wasn't alone, was she? Melissa shakes her head back and forth to signal no. When she was a teenager, I worked hard for her to be at least a little bit social in her life. But she merely would go back and forth from school to her room. I worried for so long. She would spend her life alone, without knowing any friends. I was worried when her grandmother passed. Mom was Jamie's best friend for years. The only person she would carry an actual life with. My daughter, I think, grew up too fast under me. But you all seem to have brought out Jamie I never got to know. You're going to do it, aren't you? You're going to pull a plug on her, Melissa asked with a stern, concerned voice. I was, yeah. But then I heard you in a moment alone with her. So who am I to deter my daughter from this battle at this time? If she is as strong a fighter as you say, I would like to see the side of my daughter. I don't think now is the time to give up yet on hope. The two remained quiet for much of the remaining time in the hospital visit. File source end. Accessing Black Clover. Press announcement acts on the accident. Additional access Black Tower security camera network. And if you'll excuse me, I am going to see if I can... Oh, I'm out of tissues. I've gotten a bit snotty. Yes, that is a very emotional point in the book. There are more emotional points. But that is a very emotional point. In fact, we're still going with emotional points here. The door of the car slams as Rick doesn't even flinch. Both Moses and Gavin struggling to step out of the vehicle as Rick just marches on, making his way around the corner. He is in an act of rage, almost runs fully into a person he sees coming searching for. Bart Hauser, the tower's game director. Takes no real note till Bart speaks up to him with a slick smile on the face. Hey, Rick, Jamie, a middle-aged game designer, has no time to react as the larger Rick grabs Bart by the shirt and throws him against the wall, lifting him to his toes, and growls. What did they do? Huh? What was it? I thought the company wanted Jamie around, that they wanted her to promote the game. Why is it she was chosen? Was it just some sick way to gain publicity? Tell me, Bart. Tell me! Rick snarls in Bart's face. Oh, hey there, buddy. I don't know the least bit about what this is all about, a shaken Bart responds. Moses runs up, pulling the two men apart. Rick, man, calm down. Let the man speak. Unfortunately for Bart, the grip of Moses had Rick lessen enough for him to slide free, but not far enough to avoid a thrown punch from Rick. The punch hits, landing slightly on the cheek, but smashing more across Bart's ear. Bart falls back, gripping his ear. What the hell's wrong with you? I've had no idea what's caused this mess. You know everything I do. Besides, if you want to be upset at someone, be upset at Gail. She's the one going on and to blame the accident on Jamie's actions, proclaims the head game designer for the tower. Moses pushes Bart at this time. He goes falling to the ground. As Rick runs towards the open hall and on the first floor, there, standing in front of several cameras, is Gail Gyrate, the Black Clover spokeswoman. We at Black Clover find the accident that occurred the other day to be an abhorrent tragedy, and we are offering all services we can to Miss Eve and her family at this time. The first investigation into the matter, however, reveals that Miss Eve did not take action to evacuate the game upon request of the central offices, and had placed herself at risk, which she had led to the injuries she had suffered from the accident. While the accidents did occur to Miss Eve, it is believed that the fault is not no way linked to the actual game or the Neuralink hardware. Both have been tested and proved to be safe to return to gameplay, and these delays will not delay the game's set release date in 2 months. In conclusion, Miss Eve's doctors have informed us that she remains in critical condition from the accident, and there's no way it was caused by our company's hardware or software of 11 Kingdoms. Once again, we send our sympathies to the family of Miss Eve and pray for a speedy recovery. In the meantime, we will focus on the game and work on with Interpol and FBI offices to hunt down this mysterious hacker of the game. It appears 2 nights ago going by the handle of Dark Mistress. At this time, I will take questions from the audience. Rick takes action, pushing his way to the front of the news crews that have gathered. A few more news-hungry people shove back and forcing him to work hard, shoving his way through. His face gets blocked as he's ready to holler at Gale for the first news by the first news reporter, Gerald Vines, who shouts a question. So Black Clover's acknowledging that the hacker is responsible for the injuries Miss Eve suffered. No, our sources show she suffered an earlier injury that day before. We believe that along with the tampering of her chair may have caused an electrical charge to be released on her. Response of fully professional Gale and showing just enough emotion behind her words that she comes off as caring, but not too much to show as much as a blemish of makeup smudging under her tears. Slurring words, she states. But surely the charge is hit at the exact time the hacker struck. Her avatar in the game, Vimes replies, not letting Gale spin the story further. We're still looking into it at this time. Gale turns to look at another reporter while Rick tries to shout at her, but gets ignored. Gale! Reporter Vines turns to pull Rick back. Hey, pal, back off. We were here first. Besides, you don't have a... Before Vines can finish his sentence, Rick punches him, tossing him to the ground. The reporter throws down his mic and throws off his jacket as he returns to his feet to return the favor to Rick. By now, the focus of the press meeting is turned to the two men fighting as security runs in, grabbing them both, pulling them apart, and handcuffing them. As he's being cuffed, Rick shouts at Gale. I won't let you destroy her, Gale. Jamie's in the hospital dying, and I won't let you silence her voice. Very furious Gale replies with gritted teeth, yet swift action. This conference is over. Security, take Mr. Mathers up to the conference room and let the reporter go. The news reporters start to swarm, both the security guards covering Rick and forcing him to the elevator, and Gale, as she makes her way. She looks over to the now beaten face of Rick as the elevator doors close, and she remains on her cold form, keeps still and unflinching in emotion on the matter. The elevator is a quiet, long ride to the top tower, but no sooner do the doors open to the floor 49 than Gale speaks up. Drop him and leave us, guards. The guards drop Rick, face first on the floor, still cuffed with his arms behind his back. Rick rolls about, getting himself to his knees and then making his way to his feet. You're looking to get yourself fired, aren't you, Mr. Mathers? You're telling them it's her fault. What kind of monster are you? Rick growls as his eyes lock in and stare at Gale. You have no right to talk here, Mr. Mathers. This company has put a damn lot on the line, even more on the line for you and that girl. This company employs close to 1/100th of this population. And it's not just you or Miss Eve. When this accident occurs, we must take action at least to do the least amount of damage possible. So we keep all those people employed, despite the lack of the press. Gale continues her professional speech with Rick. Rick spits out a collection of blood in his mouth on the floor. I don't give a damn about the public image of the damn company. There's no way you can pin Jamie's injuries truly on her. You know damn well she did that not mess with the care, and there's no way of exiting the game. It may be so, but if I go out and face with that fact, the hacker was able to prevent her from physically getting out of the game, then what will happen? I'll tell you what will happen. The damn governments of the world would not only dub the game dangerous, but also all systems unsafe. The very machines now keeping young Miss Eve alive. They will shut down everything of Black Clover, causing millions to lose their jobs and billions of other lives at risk from the Neuralink system, because all one sicko stalker brought harm to that damn girl. Do you want the girl to die at the hands of the bureaucrats? Or do you want to find the person responsible for bringing them justice? Gail finally slips from her professional attitude as her scowl wrinkles her makeup, causing a slight line to form. For the first time in hours, the anger begins to flee from Rick's body. I want to be at the forefront to find this hacker. There's a great risk, but the FBI needs someone familiar with our systems to look into ways the hacker made it into the game and affected it. Plus, we will still need to get a lockdown on their location. All tracers we tried to put into play to find the hacker have been useless. Gail sighs as it lowers her voice, hoping Fury downstairs to calm down. I don't care. Jamie was my responsibility. And if anyone should bring this freak in, it'll be me, Rick proudly proclaims. Gail reaches in her pockets and pulls out her DAS. She dials a number and activates the monitors in the room. Central, it's Gail Gyrade. I need you to send all we have on the Plague files and the hacker Dark Mistress for our newest investigator. Please send them systems here in Treetop of Black Tower. Thanks. She hangs up and the monitors begin filled with files. The system up here will be locked from below. Do what you can, but don't you share a damn file of this information, or I will have you thrown in the worst prison I can find for fraud, understand? Report your findings to me, and I'll send them to Central. Is that all? My group thought about it. How do we know Central doesn't have someone who did this? Sternly asked Rick, his voice slightly showing a hint of rage returning. Central isn't that easily swayed, Mr. Mathers. Gail sighs as there remains calm in her retort. One last thing, Gail. Rick stops. Gail, who's making her way across the room of the elevator, of the floor, both with cigarette and lighter already in hand. Yes, she responds with frustration in her voice. If you say Central is not that easily swayed, then can you tell me where Central is? Seriously concerned face of Rick asks. You are not cleared for that info, Mr. Mathers. Gail walks to the elevators and gets in with the doors shutting tight. Rick looks around at the documents opening on the scenes. One of the screens lights unusual glitches carrying the signal of Dark Mistress. Both the boar and the plant creatures appear, and with their times and note both were destroyed by the same player, Thon Midden. Between them, 29 other cases of monsters in which were destroyed by the computer system wipe. He looked to see the last accounts of activity and came to a shock. Dark Mistress the other day wasn't the last. No, far from it. In the last 2 days, the system indicates many of the world's section of Pangai have been infected, and the systems are not clearing the virus from acting. Then Rick looks and sees the last file is noted and that a single unknown file is still active in Black Tower's records. How is that possible? The game isn't active here yet. What is that active in our system? Computer, lock in and display the unknown file. Computer acknowledges as Rick west and zooms into the grassy field on the northern plains of Noyox Kingdom. The camera begins to zoom in on a humanoid figure with black hair, highlighted with straight shades of purple. No, it can't be. Rick dashes to the stairs, not wanting to wait for the elevator. Bursts open the door to the floor 47, shocking both Moses and Gavin, who stand there talking in the hall. Hey, Rick, what happened? Face the full force of Gale. Rick fails to respond to Moses' inquiry. It's something I need to check for myself in the game. You two get back to work. Two men follow their leader and makes his way to his office and hops into his chair, activating his Neuralink. Work? But we just got in, Gavin wheezes. You find something? Dropping down the monitor, Moses and Gavin look at each other. Are you gonna let him go alone, or do you want us? You want to see what he's up to as well, states Moses, already dashing down the hall to get his connection. Last one on is a... Gavin can't even finish a sentence before Moses is already at the door to his apartment, and the towel princess of his captured across my eyes. The odd tingling and sting of blades of uncut grass tickles my skin, and the sound of wildlife moving about hits my ear. When a faded figure comes walking into view, casting a shadow down on me from above. A low thump repeats itself in my ears. What is going on? My eyes begin to adjust more, and the blur of the figure is joined by two more. I begin to hear the voices somehow familiar to me, though I cannot make out the names or faces as they fade into my view. It can't be, cries one voice, a short figure. Gavin, drop the dwarven speak. No one's here but us, shouts the tall figure. You're alive, medium figure cries. No way, Rick. This is some computer glitch, states the tall one. Or another trap by the Dark Mistress, proclaims the short one. My vision clears, and I see the face of people I start to recall. The dwarf Gavin, Kandar Nev Lir, the old man that is my father, King Valspar Midden. But something doesn't sit right with me. Something in my pit of my stomach tells me these people are something else to me. But the sensation eases as I am hugging or being hugged by my father. In an act of love, I try to send him words of comfort. Father, I'm okay. The man I know as my father pulls me back and looks coldly at me. Jamie, it's okay, you can drop the act. There are no players. I look puzzled as the uneasy feeling returns to my stomach. Players? Jamie? What are you going on about? Father, it's me, Fawn. I try to be reassuring. His father is in his elderly years, and his memory may be slipping from him at who I am. I told you. It's a computer ghost. One of Fawn. There's no memories of Jamie. Besides, how could it be her? She's in the hospital. Hell, her chair was destroyed. The words of the computer, hospital, and chair begin to jar my damaged memory. My head begins to throb. Computer game. This is a game. I'm not Fawn, am I? I question the three and get a nod out of yes. I reply to my question. This world is so real. I remember so much from my life. How can this be a computer program? Okay, officially getting freaked out here, Rick. Nev steps away from me as I was out to harm him, as if I was out to harm him. Okay, Fawn. Tell me, when is your earliest memory? Father asks with a puzzled look at me as his grip tightens on me. I was about 6. I spilled ink on my hair. And you? I stop and think before continuing to confuse as my head throbs. No, it wasn't you. It was a woman. She got mad at me. Mom? It was Mom. I grab my head. The throbbing continues to hurt. What does that prove? Gavin asks. proves that bits of Jamie are in this version of Fawn. She still lives in a way, locked in this ghost file of Fawn. I look at him. I'm not a ghost, Father. I can feel and touch things. I smell the crisp air, the smell of honeysuckle nearby. These are things I believe ghosts can't do. You're right. You aren't a ghost. You're a real thing. A miracle real thing. Father weeps as he hugs and rubs my head. I look at Nev, now risking moving closer as to study me, his massive eye reflecting my face in its glare. You can smell and feel? The game doesn't offer these sensations. How does it know what those things are? I, for one, know we didn't program smells into the game, Rick. No. But to this Fawn, this version of Jamie, this world is very real. Perhaps the senses are tricked with former memories Jamie had of the real world. Now the program is trying to make sense of it in her head. Father states without letting go of my hand. So what is this? Nev pokes at my face, and I shy away from the touch of his rough skin. I'm Fawn. What do you mean, what is this, Nev? I sternly proclaim at Nev in anger. Ye heard, Nev. This is Fawn in every way. But it's not possible. Fawn is a character in a game, not a real person. Jamie is a player. Nev stands, scratching his chin, trying to work out the puzzle laid out before him. Still is. Father looking up from his position of the protective hug he's giving me. Jamie sits in the hospital, brain dead, because her memories and consciousness, all that is her mental self, is still in the game. It's still in Fawn. Let's help get her back to the castle to rest. Gavin, fast travel the two of you there. Gavin salutes and grabs my hand and then vanishes in a burst of light while I stay behind. Interesting. The world is holding her to set limits for herself as well. Very well. Nev, let's walk back with Fawn, shall we? I look puzzled at the cool nature between both men. After Gavin just vanished before them into some unknown void. Quickly I feel the rough hands of Nev reach down and lift me, start to carry me back to the castle. The two say nothing of my trip, just keep looking back at my face and smiling. The sun was setting when we made it back to town, but I did not let Nev carry me through the town. I squirmed about till he dropped me, and then I walked on my own, paused only briefly to hug my horse Caramel in his stable, but moved quickly as the stench of the compiling piles of manure began to fill the air, and as Caramel seemed far more interested in his dinner being served than letting me stroke his fuzzy hide. Father grabbed me lightly and walked me through town, my mouth watering at the smells of the food stands, the carts selling their wares. I didn't purchase anything. I was not carrying any funds on me at the time, and his father felt it would be far more important for me to return to the castle. Fawn needs rest. Let's get her to her room, and I'll discuss matters later in the meeting room. Nev nods and leaves me to Father's care, escorting me through the castle walls. Father leads me up to my room and sits me down on a fluffy mattress, but I choose not to pay attention to him too closely as I eye a plate of fruit in my room and move it over and begin to eat the food. Fawn, I want you to stay here. Do you understand? I need to go take care of some issues. I'll see to it that Nev and Gavin meet any needs you have. Also, Captain Gaunt, when she will protect you. But I don't want you leaving the castle till I say so. Can you do that for me? I nod to respond to him as I shove a piece of orange in my mouth. Normally, sweet taste is a bit sour and causes my face to pucker. Father then looks puzzled again and asks, "Did you just taste that?" "No, I ate it. It's sour," I reply, dropping the remaining chunk of orange from my mouth, and go ahead and find something sweeter. Amazing. Truly amazing. So, will you stay here and not leave the castle till I say you can, okay? Father looks astonished at my eating habits and just watches me for a bit. Yes, Father. He leans in and kisses me on the forehead and walks out the door, closing it behind him. I quickly grab a nearby knife and cut away at a hunk of cheese that lay hidden in the pile of fruit, and grab a bread roll as well. I don't get what's bothering them. I feel fine. Weird. File source end. Accessing linked materials. News show, broadcast, transcript. Host, Chris Demian. Welcome back to Head to Head. The last few hours of accident left Jamie Eve, player of the hit game 11 Kingdoms, is in a coma, and the company, Black Clover, is looking into the issue. The company is reporting the damage done due to Mrs. Eve's actions. With me tonight is Gail Jarrade, Black Clover Public Relations Manager, and Herbert Vales, the People Against Kingdoms Techno-Zombies. Let's start with you, Gail. Today you came out with a report that it looks like it came up with some ire to someone earlier shouting your responses was a lie during the press conference. Look here, Chris. I'm not here to be bashed by you. And I'm here to tell you that, and your audience, that Black Clover is looking into the incident and still early to decide who is fully responsible. During this time, we're seeing fully to the care and well-being of Miss Eve's recovery in the hospital. You gotta be kidding me. Gail, your company's been known what went wrong. Mr. Vales, do you feel she knows something she's not sharing? Black Clover's made it such a monopoly in this world. You have no choice these days other than to work for them or starve to death. This company is designed to make brainless slaves willing to help the company to make money. They're now forcing the world to take part in their games to determine the benefits the lower class people in countries normally receive help and assistance of their need. They're playing games with the lives of the masses. Not at all. Excuse me? May I continue to talk? I'll let you talk. May I continue? Go on, but your facts are sadly mistaken. My facts are 100% accurate. The lies you and those who work for your company use cover the facts of the control of the public opinion. I would not be surprised if the investigation shows Miss Eve's accident was caused by the actions intentionally for you and your staff, Miss Gale. Are you accusing me of attempting homicide on national television? If the shoe fits, I'm gonna step in here. Herbert, do you have any evidence to these allegations you're making here? At this time, no, but we can talk later. We can let Black Clover investigate the issue. It'll be covered up. It's not true. We're working along with the FBI, DC Police, and Interpol into looking into all possibilities. It's interesting to bring up these organizations, Miss Jarrade. When the event occurred, those that were watching the event claimed Miss Eve admits she was attacked by a source she claimed was part of the game. Yet your own company claims it's a hacker of the game. With a system as complex as 11 Kingdoms, it leaves itself open for people to hack into the system. Our offices have even tracked attacks from the very organization that Mr. Vales here is part of. So you're saying Mr. Vales could be responsible for this incident? That's slander. She has no proof. No one in my organization is responsible. She's merely looking for a scapegoat because the so-called accident was caused by her or other members of Black Clover. Blood is on their hands. Look here, Chris. They designed the game. They designed and built the controller, the chair that Miss Eve was in at the time of the accident. If they controlled her life in every aspect. I have reports of sightings of Miss Eve a week ago in Virginia where she was simply eating in a diner when guys in suits grabbed her and took her away kicking and screaming right in front of the public of a diner. Is that true, Miss Gale? Miss Eve is a fellow member and a fellow employee had indeed left the tower and security and was called in to return them safely. They peacefully regained Miss Eve, and that was done on the part of Miss Eve's safety protocol, as we have dealt with threats on her life by groups like the one by Herbert Vales. More lies. Come on, Gale. You spout nothing but lies, just like the man said to you earlier today. Wouldn't be surprised if that man turns out to be one of your own former loyal members. By now, is a rotten corpse being buried along with the truths you try to hide. Well, Gale, do we know who that person was at this time? We do know the individual and have taken action to resolve his issue. Can you identify the man here and now? She can't, because the lies and the body will be found. Despite the blatant ignorance of Mr. Vales, at this time I cannot reveal the person other than saying they are a Black Clover and an 11 Kingdoms employee, and it's not only alive, but still working on his job. All of it will be arranged under reprimanded for his actions today. I don't need her to identify him, Chris, because my organization looked into and found the man is none other than Rick Mathers, the very person in charge of Miss Eve's own team. Wait, you mean the person who worked along with Miss Eve personally? Mr. Mathers is still working with the company. He plays the character King Valsper Midden, and when the game returns to being active later tonight, he will be back on. As for his reasons for being upset, given for the last few months the staff of each team has drawn close, and Mr. Mathers' emotions for Miss Eve had gotten the better of him. The company at this time is handling the situation. Well, it looks like we need to wind things down. Any last words? Mr. Vale, I'll start with you. Don't believe the lies of this snake woman and the vile company she works for. My organization is working hard to uncover the lies of Black Clover. Spouts, I welcome you all to join us at pax.org. Chris, Gale, your last words? We at Black Clover continue to see the safety and aid of our employees around the world, be it in the help we gave San Francisco since the quake, or be it in the cases of accidents like what happened the other day with Miss Eve. We truly care for make a difference in the world as best we can. Well, there you have it. Now it's up to you, the viewer, to form your own opinion. Back in a minute with the final word. Report end. Accessing next report. So, literally, there you have it. I have a nice little scripted scene there. Not the only time that we have a scripted scene. We'll have a couple of those play out. But yeah. Bond's alive. Bond is alive. And Jamie is in a coma. A very, very bad coma, too. We are, like I said, I did a lot of research, not only on how press releases are done for this chapter, but how our company would respond in this situation. And of course, you have to have the news arguing. If I didn't have the news arguing in a book that occurred during a modern age or future age, you're going to have that news argument back and forth. But yeah, no. Fawn is alive. She's feeling things. She's tasting things. She's smelling things. All of which don't exist in the game. Because as we stated before, all the game could do was motions, hearing, and visual. So now she's getting all her senses used. So we will be probably back to this next week. We'll do at least chapter 10 and 11 because we're starting to get to where Jamie / Fawn actually is in the game and taking part. I thank you all for joining in this week, letting me do this read through as always. Once again, I am going to be shouting these out as often as I can just to promote them. But yes, by all means, buy my book. Buy my book. All right, yes, buy my book because, yes, Amazon. Digital copies of Demon Blade are already available for pre-order, and I may have print literally in a few minutes. I've been waiting on this for a while. We've been waiting for a final approval from Amazon to give us the go-ahead for pre-order. And at the moment, I'm looking through my email. We do not have it yet. So, it should be available for pre-order, though, in the next few days. So, you'll be able to order it, and then it should be out on the 15th. So, get a copy, buy a copy for a friend, whatever. Like, comment, and subscribe on these videos because, hey, it helps us in the algorithm. And I also want to thank you all for joining me, and a special thank you, especially since we covered 2 things this week with Mikov being from a certain country that's being a little bit of a butthead right now, and I'm going to call them a butthead because I want to be polite. But yeah, I am praying for, as always, like I've said since the start of last week, we are praying sadly for the countries of Ukraine, and we're also keeping an eye and a prayer in our hearts for Taiwan because China is looking a little sketchy. China's also a character we had here. And they're very much the personalities that they are in the books. So, yep. Not too happy about it. So, pray, put your prayers and hopes in. I might Saturday do a little bit of the fundraising for, we might do the stream and help fundraise for Saturday's drawing stream for the Ukrainian people. But until then, I hope you all have a wonderful evening, a wonderful week, and a wonderful year. Good night.